PRI.
And I remember being up on stage and looking out at the park there, and as far as you could see, there were just eyeballs, faces, and people looking at me and looking at the music and at the band. And for me, being able to know that I had some effect on bringing those people together and bringing the community together, and for me, it's the most rewarding part of what I do, and what really kind of keeps me going is, what are we going to do next for the community, for the people.
That was Charles Wagoner, and this is Beyond the Bold, a new podcast by PRI Productions, where we explore beyond the surface of the bold city of the South into the heartbeat of Jacksonville to learn about our city, our people, and what makes it come alive. We want to uncover Jacksonville's history, culture, art, and industry and connect its unique voices as the city evolves. Charles Wagoner is the founder of the enormously popular 904 Happy Hour, North Florida's premier entertainment resource. After visiting their website or social media outlets, you can never again claim that there's nothing to do in your city. From restaurants and nightlife, sporting events, community gatherings, music festivals, outdoor exploration, and more, 904 Happy Hour is your one-stop shop for everything new and exciting in Jacksonville. Charles sat down with us to explain the roots of the business, how it evolved and eventually took on a life of its own through social media and live event promotion. And the story of its development is a story of ideas meeting opportunity and determination. It took an entrepreneurial spirit to drive the company to where it is today, but we wanted to start by finding out more about the man behind the media. So let's start from the beginning.
As we talk about you and try to understand how we got to, you got to where you are at this point right now, I mean, you sort of were a little bit of a pioneer in this, and so that's the fascinating part. But I guess before we get into 904 Happy Hour, what'd you do before all this?
So I didn't really do that much. I worked for Target. I got a job at Target when I was...
Which department?
I worked every single department in the store. I learned everything from coming in at 4 a.m. to unload trucks, to spacing out the clothing in the women's department,
okay,
to selling TVs, to dropping a TV, which we did once, to arranging the cereal on the cereal. I did every single thing in that store. I started as a cashier when I was 18 years old. Growing up, my dad was an entrepreneur. He always had different companies, and in high school, he moved, or really in middle school, he moved his company out west. They did work in power plants. They did work at the JEA plant and a few other plants, and they moved the company out west to Nevada because there was a major opportunity with a power plant out there. And they ran into some different issues with unions out there, and the company ended up going under about 2 years after the move. And so I went from, as a child, thinking, I'm going to be able to work for my dad. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be working for Pops. To we faced a major financial problem with our family, and I had to get a job to help.
And that's when you went to Target?
That's when I went to Target. I knew a manager at Target, and she's like, well, you can be a cashier.
How long did you work there?
I worked there for probably 2 to 3 years, quite a while.
So did you start this thought process of starting your own business, doing that while you were there?
I did. So kind of over the time there, I learned through high school, I was an outgoing person, but I was really shy. And by working there, I was forced into all kinds of different situations with angry customers, to just, hey, can I help you find something? That was...
You still consider yourself shy?
Yeah, I'm definitely an introvert. As crazy as that may seem.
It does seem weird because I feel that way some about me too. So what people sometimes see people as is not who they see them, how they see themselves. So I feel somewhat the same way about me too. So
Yeah,
I
there's,
get that.
there's nothing better than staying home.
Were you a computer geek?
I studied computer science while I was at UNF. Did a bunch of coding and stuff, and that was when I really found out that the computer science direction was not for me. I like being out in the field, being able to not be behind a computer the whole day, and kind of got stuck doing that with my company I have now, but I have a lot more flexibility.
Okay, so you were part of this world where computers are fascinating to you. So you were messing around with that while you were working at Target. And can you just sort of lay out how did the first idea of doing something like this ever come about? And I'm sure what it is now is not what probably the original thought was. Same goes for me in many ways. But what were you first thinking you were going to do when you just started this?
Well, when I started the company, I started it one night. I went to La Nop with some friends, and I had kind of storyboarded
Here in San Marco.
In Fleming Island. I lived in Fleming Island.
Right. You were a Fleming Island person.
And I had come up with a bunch of different business ideas. And this one night, we went to La Nop, didn't have work the next day, and I was like, well, I wish there was a resource where we could find things to do in Jacksonville. And there wasn't. You could go pick up a magazine, but there wasn't any magazines at La Nop. So I kind of took it upon myself that night. I went home and told my dad, hey, I've got this great idea. I'm quitting Target. And he's like, what? You're quitting Target? And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I think there's a huge void in the market. I'm gonna do this. And so for like 2 days straight, I just built this website. Didn't sleep much, just created.
So you knew from when you were going to UNF how to create a website?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But the website can't be, well, I guess I'm jumping ahead because at some point right now I would assume your social media side of that is so much more the website. But at that point when you were doing it, you were really focused more on the website that you could drive people to that to see what's going on.
And I immediately found out that people don't just go to a website.
Because it's a commitment. I found that still.
Major commitment.
You got to look for that.
Yeah.
It's hard to search that because you don't want to spend that much time. You just want to know.
You just want to know or have that resource that you can just go to.
Okay, so you launched this website.
Launched it within 3 days.
How did you really?
Yeah.
Well, they just one page?
It was about 40 pages.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how'd you find your first? I would assume at the beginning you had to have comped a lot out to at least get some energy going or something. Or how did you even? And if that was true, how did you get to the first one that would actually give you $1?
The company didn't make money for probably 2 years.
How'd you eat? Could you quit Target?
No, I still worked at Target.
Oh, you kept working at Target?
I worked at Target for probably another year and a half, and then went on a educational leave of absence, so I could still get the employee discount. But I bought a lot of the company's first equipment from there, which helped me kind of save money through the startup process, and it also helped me, still, eat and kind of survive. I'd work 40 hours a week there, and then I'd go. Photos were a huge part of the company at the beginning too. We'd take photos, and that's how we'd get people to go to the website.
So none of the people that you were at La Nop was going down this road of birthing it with you. Was this a solo effort, or did they have a role in this?
It was really a solo thing. People thought I was crazy because I would work, an 8-hour shift, and then I'd go and hop around to 4 to 5 places after I got off work and go take photos of people.
I have similar connection. People thinking I'm crazy, even my own family. Why you have a good job? Why would you do this? My particular aside, it wasn't at Target, but I used to roll what used to be called the Super Shopper in this town. You're too young to probably remember this. It was like Craigslist and print. I threw 5,000 of those in Mandarin. That's how I ate while I started the company, and I did that for the first several months.
The Super Shopper.
Yeah, it's called the Super Shopper. Is what it was. It was Craigslist and printing pretty much. And every Tuesday night I'd go without sleeping. I would throw them in everybody's neighborhood, everybody's driveway. I'm the annoying guy that was throwing them in everybody's driveway. I did that. But that's how I ate when I started my company. So there's a similar connection to the point that you stayed working at Target to make sure that you could still eat while you still started this idea that everybody thinks you're crazy about, which is equal family and friends. I think I'm just as crazy. Just think you is just as crazy.
Well, and for me, it wasn't just about me. It was about my family. It was about being able to help them too, because it wasn't just me that was affected. My mom worked for my dad. I mean, the whole family was it was devastating what we went through, and so it was. Okay. It was finding a foundation that we could all maybe survive off.
So even at the time that you were doing this after you work at Target, you believed at that time it could turn into something.
Yeah.
Meaning that it could eventually not be a hobby but feed you. You saw that in your mind.
If you build something that people want to consume, people will want to be a part of it.
But it was called 904 Happy Hour.
Crazy name.
You said at the beginning that it was really about finding things to do in Jacksonville. But clearly, when I hear the word 904 Happy Hour, if I didn't know you, the first thing I would think of is that's about bars. Okay. Yeah. So was that what you were thinking at that moment, or how did the name come about?
So it was working at Target and not making a lot of money. It was, we always looked for where we could find a cheap drink. And we would always find places with late night happy hour specials or all day happy hours. So it was really, when I built the site originally, it was kind of a site where you could find, we had probably 60, 70 places around Jacksonville with their happy hour specials.
You walked in on a cold call and said, can I speak to the shift manager, the manager, and said, I got an idea. Why wouldn't they just say, fine, I'll give you a few drinks for free. You put it up there. We'll see if anything. I mean, I'm just saying, why wouldn't everybody just sort of come at you that way like they do a lot of the local entertainment people? They just say, I'll give you an open bar and you work for free. And I'm like, that's not fair. But a lot of people do that.
That was kind of how the company went at the beginning until we just kind of amassed a massive following.
What does that mean? You drank everywhere? I mean, I'm saying, did you connect the dots that you ultimately got the drinks for free while you were trying to do that too?
I really never was a big drinker.
Well, good thing.
Now my friends definitely took full advantage of it because we would get $100 bar tab or whatever the bar would give us. But
tell me about the first one that actually gave you cash. Tell me, even if you don't mention the name, that's not the point. Tell me about the moment that someone actually gave you cash and not a bar tab.
Yeah, it was thrilling. It was probably at least a year into the project, and the bar, it was Cheers in Orange Park.
Okay.
And I mean, it was a smart move on their end because we were bringing in more customers
through the website still.
Through the website and social. So we had. Immediately, or not immediately, but within several weeks of launching the site, I created a Facebook page. And Facebook kind of just mirrored a lot of the same content that was on the site.
Okay, here's the fascinating part about what happened. I'm going to jump up to right now. And then I'm going to go back, but I'm going to ask you this. Tell me where you are right now so that everybody can understand what is so fascinating about your story. Tell me your followers and what you have, or how do you measure that? Tell me, and I'm going to go back to figure out how we started with that first one.
Yeah, so right now, our monthly reach is over 2.2 million people in and around North Florida.
That's insane.
People look at our website, and this is off of our website. People look at it from all over the world. We average over 100,000 unique visits to our site a month, and over 1 million page views. And then our social reach on Instagram, we've got over 90,000 followers, and about a 1.3 million person reach through Instagram. And then on Facebook, we reach about 1.8 million people, and have over 110 or 114. I don't know. It's
okay. The number's too high for me to actually totally comprehend all that.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah. So a lot of people follow you guys. And I say you guys, but for the most part, I know you have other people that help you now. But at this point right now, I still pretty much see it, as you, like you're the face of what you're doing. So aside from mom, dad, sister, best friends following How did it start to the point you got people you didn't know that actually fit? Tell me about how you did that.
I think it was just relationship driven. I mean, at the beginning and kind of through starting the company, I did everything myself for the most part. Besides some of the stuff on the back end, I would go to different bars and restaurants and events, and I'd meet every single person that we took their photo of, and I'd give them a card that had our website name on it. And
so they had a personal connection. So at that point, right now, they want to go see a picture of themselves. And then if they would like it, then at that point, they would maybe share it. So now their friends would. So at that point in the beginning infancy stage, this is how it just started.
Just kind of snowballing, yeah.
And then I guess you said Cheers bar. But at that point right now, then you're hoping as you share with them that it's also helping the connection.
Yeah.
Did they put your name out to it?
I think so.
Do the bars right now still put your name out?
So they'll share our content a lot, share our photos. Yeah, I would say, yeah, some of them do. I mean, I would say they always hashtag us. Probably 80% of the restaurants hashtag us in their photos and stuff.
When did you figure out that this wasn't just going to be a few thousand people, but we're just going to, what year was this that you started, first of all?
It was, gosh, I don't even know. It was about 9 years ago.
So 9 years ago, you're still working at Target, you birthed this.
Yeah.
When do you think you became cool enough to the point that you're in like a lot of fun? When did you wake up one morning, or was there a moment of, wow, this is actually starting to take off? Or was it just like every day it just kept growing?
Every day it grew and still does grow. I mean, every day our number, it's just growing exponentially. I think over the last month, we've gained about 3,500 new followers on Facebook, and over 3,000 or 4,000 followers on Instagram. So I can't say that I ever had a day where I woke up and I was like, wow, this is huge. For me, it's not huge yet. It's still, I mean, it's very, very large, but it's still a baby. It's growing.
Would you say, would it be fair to say you're the largest social media or things to do in this community outreach? I don't know. How would you word that? How would you explain that? If you were bragging about 904 Happy Hour, what's your word?
If I was to brag about it, I'd say that we're the largest influencer, or we have the largest megaphone in North Florida, besides like a news station.
So people call you now and saying, I want you to do this for us?
Yeah.
Do you still call random people and just say, hey, can I speak to your manager?
Do
you still do that?
No. The goal is in the next year to get someone dedicated to sales. We've had a couple people over the last few years and just haven't found the right fit.
Well,
it's tough.
It is tough. You know? I can tell you, you have what you said earlier when you would actually try to, at the beginning of this, try to talk to the people that manage the restaurant or own the restaurant is no different than me picking up the phone or trying to call on people to try to see if they would use my company. That's the hardest thing in the world because it's, again, we seem to be that sort of introverted type person. I found that really difficult. Even till this day, no matter what anybody would even think that I'm not a good cold caller. I've also tried through the years at times to bring in people, and it's difficult to find a cold caller because it's a numbers game. I mean, I guess I would compare it to the fact you gotta call on 100 of them to try to get 2 or 3 that might turn into something. And I mean, you gotta be pretty thick-skinned and pretty aggressive, and that's. Hey, you find those people that do really good, send it to me too, because I have a hard time trying to figure out how that they can always connect to the passion.
It's the toughest position to find someone to fill.
Oh, I have some amazing, wonderful people, but it's hard to find somebody that can do what you did at the beginning, because nobody's going to take care of your baby like you take care of your baby, and you know what I'm talking about.
With any business, it's incredibly easy to get burnt out, you know, and I think that's been the neat thing about my company and how I've kind of approached it the entire time is, when I start to get kind of burnt out on stuff, and we immediately shift direction or kind of change what we're doing to keep it fresh, keep it engaging.
I'm going to get to more current things in the world about what's happening with you, but I want to go. I didn't ask one question. Why 904 Happy Hour? What other names were you considering, and what made you settle on this one?
Well, the other name that we considered was 904 Events, and we have that domain. We've got a lot of stuff with that name attached to it. But why we chose 904 Happy Hour? Happy hour means so many things to different people. For me, happy hour is trying to share happy things to our followers every hour of the day. And over the years, we've thought, should we change the name? Should we not? I mean, at this point, we can't change the name because it's like, would you change the name of PRI? Everybody knows that name.
I did. My original name was Presentation Resource Inc., which is still my main name. But when I had so many different companies that did different event stuff, it was the hardest thing in the world to change my baby's name.
Yeah.
Which Presentation Resource Inc. is really DBA PRI Productions. But you don't think I stayed up many, many sleepless nights?
When did you change that?
2001.
So
because I had Images Showmakers. I had event services. What are they? Event services by Confettis. I had Premier Events. They were all doing events, but it was things that specialize in different ones. And Presentation Resource, when it was originally birthed, was an audiovisual company. But then I recognized there's so much more that became the other names. And then I said, this is really tough to keep promoting because I'm having multiple different business cards, and then you're trying to put all these different logos on that.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is really tough. And I just said, I got to simplify who I am.
Yeah.
And I don't regret it now, but boy, did I have a lot of concern because everybody knew us as Presentation Resource. I can look back at it now and says, it's really tough. When you're like, well, who, you didn't really probably know about Presentation Resource.
I didn't.
But so much time, I mean, that's been, 19 years ago? Where were you 19 years ago? I mean,
I was playing on a playground.
Yeah. And so when it came down to it, 19 years ago, when I'm staying up at night, I says, this is tough. It wasn't
tough.
So all I can say is if you did change it 19 years later, you're going to talk with somebody else like I'm talking to you. That's going to say, what? Because all I know is what you're doing now. But it was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough. I don't want to do it again.
I fear that, having to do that. And it's easy for us because, I mean, we do branding, we do marketing, we do it for our events, we do it for everything that we do is a marketing play. And so it's easy for me to say, hey, let's do it for someone else. But thinking about doing it for us, no way. Frightening.
All of this way that people are finding you on the internet, you deal with all of that finding you on the search engines and all this way of how you're marketing on the internet and all. You do that, or do you have people that do that for you?
I did it all several years ago, and we've kind of just left the SEO, left everything kind of the way it was. We launched our new website about a month ago, and so I've got.
You still designed that? I
did not. No. So I have a really close friend of mine, Sean. He built the second website we had about 4 years ago. We used the site that I had built originally for the first 3 years, or 3 or 4 years. But the site that he built was a great site, and so he just redesigned the whole complete customization on the site.
What's different about it if you had between the old one and the new one? What is it that you think that drove you to do that, and what does it do now that it didn't do before?
It's simple. It's functional. No matter what type of device you use it on, it's perfect.
So you have a mobile app and all that stuff too.
So yeah, we do not have a mobile app. We just have the site. We had an app for a while, and it's the same thing that we talked about earlier. You try to get people to use something else that they're maybe they're not comfortable with, and I don't think people like apps the way they did it, several years ago. I mean, you use your Facebook.
I could see that.
You use your Instagram. You use your internet, and It's all you need. I mean, it's,
So you have Instagram, Facebook, your website. Where else is that?
We've got an email database of almost 70,000 people. We've got, what else do we have? We've got a Twitter. All the social media outlets we're on. But really our Facebook, Instagram, and our website and email list is really our channels.
I'm curious, like once your social media, you were saying that you're gaining so many followers a month still. Once it grew to a certain number, does it reach a tipping point where it kind of takes a life of its own, or do you still have to pump energy into growing your followers? Because I'm a Jacksonville transplant. I moved here about 3 years ago, and I follow you on Instagram. Or I follow 904 Happy Hour.
And he didn't know you. So he's one of the
I didn't know you, and I'm thinking about it. I don't even know how I wound up following it, but me, and then everyone I know, I'll see people commenting on your giveaways and stuff like that. People that I know. I'm not even sure how I found you, but I
You stumbled upon us.
Yeah, so I wonder, does it reach a tipping point where it just, the social media aspect, where it just starts to kind of take a life of its own and grow organically?
It's definitely at that stage. I don't know when it really hit that point. I would say probably, maybe, I really don't know. I remember maybe 5 or 6 years ago, we had like we had 10,000 likes on Facebook, and I thought, wow, this is a big deal. We're gonna have a big party. And then we did one for 11,000, 12,000, and we started doing them like every 3 weeks. And I was like, I can't keep doing this. Like this is crazy. And now we're at over 100. But I think what really helps us and potentially could help any company is just sharing positive stuff. I think we pride ourselves on, sharing what people are doing in the community that's good. And people don't like seeing negative stuff, and I love the news stations. Someone's got to share the stuff, but there's a lot of negative stuff that happens out there. And so it's just I think that's what's helped us maybe grow faster is we share the good stuff that people want to see that makes them feel good.
Actually, I think I do remember the first time I heard of 904 Happy Hour. Now I'm sitting here thinking about it. Was we did the Armada games a few years ago.
Yeah.
And more people came out to see those games than I expected, but there was one group of people just going nuts like it was a high school football game. And I was like, who are these people? The whole game just making noise, going nuts. And
it might have been.
They were swinging 904 Happy Hour banners around. I'm like, who are these guys?
So the Armada had they had a section 904, which was it really didn't have anything to do with us. It was a really dedicated fan base that they had, and I guess the people that sat in that section just loved Duval. They just loved the 904, and
that somehow through that I found. There were like 904 Happy Hour banners or something that people were
So I had friends that would go and sit in that section, and they were crazy people, and they probably were doing, who knows what they were doing.
How did, you said a minute ago that you share positive things. If you never worked for a company that clearly they didn't do what you do now, where did you figure out how much posting is too much, how much is not enough, what kind of posts you need to do, what do you think the world's interested in? How did you figure out that combination?
Well, I still don't know what's too much. Some days we post 10 things, and it's like, is that too much? I think as far as on the posting side, we try not to share more than, one thing an hour. Just because, I don't want to see someone, but I follow a couple people that, they'll post like 10 things in like 10 minutes. It's like, I can't follow this person. Like they're clogging up my feed. So I think it's not posting too much, but just posting different stuff. You can look at our page and everything's different. And that's the beautiful thing about Jacksonville is there's so much to see here, so much to do. You've got Amelia Island, you've got Fernandina. So we have a never-ending amount of content that we can keep sharing. Just so much stuff, and people that live here I don't think people really realize how cool this city is. All the neat restaurants that are locally owned, all the parks that we have. We have more parks than some than some some massive places like Atlanta. I mean, we have so much stuff here in Jacksonville that's undiscovered. That's incredible. That I think when we share it, people go crazy about it.
I'm a long way from being see it like you see it. I wish I could see it like you see it in regards to how you social media post. But when you were telling me that you could do X amount within one day or whatever, stuff like that, I mean, I got to ask that if I was trying to do what you were doing, I'm clearly the kind of person that has to screw it up before I figure it out. So learning moments. Tell me what is it that you would think that I didn't do that well. I didn't do this well, because you've clearly, for you to grow up and be where you are right now on a professional level, you've had to have some learning moments. And I find that intriguing to me to hear some of your learning moments, if you have a few you could share.
Learning moments. I can tell you, I think a big learning moment for me was our first event we ever did. We did this event. It was going to be a bar crawl, and we did it at Jacksonville Beach, and it was going to benefit, I think, the Donna Foundation and maybe another charity, and I think we maybe had like 600 or 700 likes on Facebook at that point, and I thought, oh man, 600 or 700 people like us. They're going to show up to this thing. It's going to be great. So we got a bunch of bars involved, and we promised the Donna Foundation that we were going to raise all this money, and it was going to be great. And it turned out day of that only like 20 people showed up, and I was like, oh man, this is terrible. And 2 people from the Donna Foundation showed up, and I was like, look, I underestimated who we were, our reach, our whatever, and we ended up, I think we wrote them a check for like $100 or $200. I don't know. However much we made, we gave them every single penny, and I think even a little bit more than that. But I think that was a big learning moment for me as a person and for the company. Is you got to really be patient, and you've got to be certain when you pull the trigger on something that it's going to work before you advertise it, before you make any moves. You've got to vet it. You've got to look at it from, every single aspect of,
Yeah. And counterbalance that where you underestimated what really happened. Give me the other side. Which is the one you're like, oh my God, did not know this is actually working?
I would say probably, I could say this year, Food and Wine Fest. I would have never thought so many people would have came out and supported an event. We sold out of VIP passes for it several weeks before the event. It was too crowded. It was amazing that many people came out to support an event. But I would say that event was really shocking. I would say the Beaches Oktoberfest, which we've done for 5 or 6 years. Even the first one that we did 5 or 6 years ago, when I don't know how many people, I think we had the Expendables play at it, and people told me, Charles, I've never seen so many people at the Jacksonville Beach Seawalk Pavilion when the Expendables played. And that was 6 years ago. And I remember being up on stage and looking out at the park there and the 4 Points in the background, and as far as you could see, there were just eyeballs and faces and people looking at me and looking at the music and at the band. And for me, being able to know that I had some effect on bringing those people together and bringing the community together, and that's for me, that's the most rewarding part of what I do, and what really kind of keeps me going is, what are we going to do next for the community, for the people?
Well, I'll jump ahead. Let's talk about next. Where do you want to go? What do you, this thing grows up? Where are we heading? What do you want it to be? Tell me, what do you see your desire being, what this is going to be like 10 years from now, 5 years from now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, when I was 21 and I started the company, I put and I've always been very goal oriented with my entire life. Where I wanted to be when I was 30, where I wanted to be when I was 40. Just all types of goals. And the goal that I wanted to be, where I wanted to be when I hit 30, I hit when I was 27, that was awesome. But for the company itself, where do I want to be in 10 years, 5 years? I don't know. I know in the next year, obviously this year from mid-February on has been a major setback for
I'm sure.
for every industry. I mean, I can't even. I mean,
you want to be a media. What would you call it? Are you wanting to be a marketing firm? Even though part of you, there's definitely a lot of people that see you that way, but I see you. You have different branches of what that would mean. But I mean, do you probably already do that for just one step outside of 904 Happy Hour, that the 904 Happy Hour brand represents you to other marketing outlets too, right?
Yeah, I mean, we do. I mean, right now we do all kinds of stuff. We do, videos for clients. We do web design. We do printing. I mean, we do all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's not stuff that I want to. I mean, I want to obviously keep doing some of that stuff, but I think the direction that we'll probably go is more towards community engagement and doing things in the community. And it might not just, we might expand outside of Jacksonville and do stuff in other cities too.
There comes that name change. Unless you stay within 904.
So if we were to go to other areas, we'd probably use that area code and some other type of.
How do you want all the followers to see you? What do you want to be seen as?
Just as a pillar of the community, and just bringing people together. And how do I want the community to see us?
Well, now you.
Or me?
How do you want the community, if you want to be perceived, what you're saying, as a trustee of the city in some way, define that. What would you like the community to see you as?
Well, I want them to see me or the company as who we are, I think actions speak louder than words. And so
as an event company, as a marketing firm, as a connector, as a trustee of the city towards goals that we as a group are trying to achieve, maybe all of that above and more, or I just was trying to pick your brain on that one, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think
you're just enjoying the ride and watching how you're impacting the world.
Yeah, it's
which is fascinating to me.
Yeah, I don't know. And I could say something now and it might be different tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't.
Okay, biggest aha moment.
Biggest aha moment
out of this whole journey.
I have aha moments every day. Biggest aha moment.
At some point when you were connecting through your website and started the social media, when did you see more? Or what is it that happened that say, you know what, I got a different angle? You know what, I can name one for you. You saw it at some point to enter not just marketing the bars and restaurants, but just like that Donna story you were talking about, at some point you saw it going over to the events.
Sure.
That's an aha moment to me at
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah.
And the first one didn't go like you had it as planned.
Yeah.
But at the same point, you didn't give up on it and run the other way, which you realize, I know how the world respond to you. You need to cut this out and stick to what you're doing well. You know what I mean? I'm sure that they were going after you, telling you, don't try to be more than what you are. I could hear those things coming to me all the time.
Yeah.
But you chose and said, no, I can find this combination.
Yeah. So I guess maybe the biggest aha moment was the first big event we did. After the Donna event that we called it the Bar Crawl for Cancer, which we only did once, and so that happened. I think I took about a year to kind of revamp, restructure, and really make sure that the next event we did was going to be great. So we did, I think about a year later, I think we did an event, which is now probably our largest pub crawl we do, the Ugly Sweater Bar Crawl. And that event was that first annual event that we did for that. I think we had like 700 or 800 people attend it. And that was a year after, maybe a year and several months after that initial first event, which flopped. So that was a big aha moment, because it's like, wow, we're cooking here with something that people like, and it's tough to bring 700 or 800 people out to an event. I mean, where they have to wear funny looking sweaters and stuff. So that was fun. And after that was when I guess another big aha moment happened, where it's like we could do bigger scale events. We had people that were doing festivals and concerts. They were all advertising with us to get the word out about their stuff. So it's like if they're doing this and we're not making any money just selling these ads, we're just staying afloat, we should start maybe trying to do our own events.
And I find we are a producer, we're not a promoter. That promoter is how you're trying to say, I'm going to put on an event and I'm going to make profit at this event.
It's tough.
I don't see PRI at all like that. So I'm like, that's a whole different breed. People think that way. We don't do that, because I find that to be even more sleepless nights, and I deal with what I'm dealing with, because sometimes you don't know till it's
over.
Here it's here.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to willing to say, oh my God, thunderstorms, whatever happened in the entire world. But you realize, stick to it, because the one that you have 2 months from now is going to be just the opposite. It's more explosive than ever before. And I'm like, that whole world of up and down and up and down, that's a lot to deal with.
It's a wild roller coaster. It's like I wouldn't even really consider it a roller coaster. It's like a space shuttle ride every day. I mean, you wake up and every day's different. The conditions are different. It's crazy. Every event that we do is different. We've had events that have been really great, and then we've had events that haven't been great. We had an event that we once had some tropical storm weather during. We had an event once that.
Come on out. We're giving raincoats.
We're giving out raincoats. Free
Beer's
ponchos.
half price. Come on out.
Yeah. We had an event once that was a week after the mass shooting in Vegas, a big festival. And it was after Irma, and it was terrible. I mean, we gave away several thousand tickets, and people just didn't want to come. So it's my business, my life. It's a roller coaster. I mean, I live, sleep, eat, work. I mean, I'm always working. It's really tough for me to shut it off. And it's, you talk about the events that we do. I don't think we've ever had an event that's been like a home run. And a home run for me is, us making profit. But then a home run also is us being able to donate a lot back to charity. That's our biggest thing with our events, is bringing in community nonprofit partners and helping them. That's that's going to be the goal always.
What's your formula when you have an event? Do you try to? I mean, it opens up a can of worms. It's easy to wind up getting people to work at a discount or want to do some in-kind stuff or give you a dozen donuts and throw your logo up there. It's hard to find the ones that are going to say, you know what, I'm going to do it, I'm going to write you a check. Those are really hard to find. What's your formula? Do you try? See, I lived in a world when I dabbled in this a few times. And again, it's not who I am. It's just not who PRI is. We are a production company. I'm not a promotions company. And I see you as event promotions, aside from I see you as social media branding or what would you call it? It's more than social media branding because on the website you're driving us. I don't even know what you would call that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that we're a news media company. We're an event promoter / we produce. I mean, I guess we're kind of an event producer too, even though we use you guys to do a lot of the
but I'm down the food
too,
chain. I mean, I have more respect for y'all than you think I do because whew, that's a tough world. And I'm like, somebody's got to do
pieces.
it. Send Charles, he'll do it.
Maybe.
So what's your formula? Do you try to get enough cash sponsors to try to pay for the event and the ticket sales wind up being the extra money? Is it beer sales that try to pay for the event and then the ticket price? What kind of formula, if you did have one that you would look at if you were birthing a brand new event tomorrow, how do you run your numbers? How do you set your budget?
God, that's tough. I mean, when we storyboard an event, I basically come up with the max budget that I'm willing to spend on the event and kind of what the lowest amount of revenue is that we could bring in off the event, given just a terrible outcome.
Was there ever an event that you're just like, oh my God, I'm done? Was there ever an event that you did? It's like, what was I thinking? Oh my God, this is it. I'm done. Meaning I'm checking out because this is not working. And then you had to pick yourself back up the next morning and say, no, I'm not done.
I think that's almost every event that we do. I mean, every event that we do, we always try to do things that we've never done before. Whether it's like this brunch festival that we were going to do that we're in a postpone right now on. We were going to do a 30-foot Bloody Mary table, and we we're going to have all these toppings and all these complicated things.
Yeah.
And we come up with it, and there's always a way to do it. And I guess probably the thing that moving forward with the company that I've got to do a better job of is really thinking about, instead of we'll just find a way to do it. It's, how much is it going to cost? How are we going to do it? Is it feasible? And I mean, the Bloody Mary table probably isn't the best example because it's very doable. We have great catering partners that can help us do something like that. But, it's, if you build it, they will come. The people will come. And it's just, I think it's for me, it's just always finding stuff that's different, that's not being done anywhere, or at least not anywhere near Jacksonville.
What feeds you most? Events or organizations like restaurants, bars, or other things compensating you to market their service? Which one feeds you most?
I would say it's probably about equal.
Okay.
It's...
Okay, let's say it's 50%.
Yeah.
So here's where I'm going with this one. Now I'm going to get to what happened in end of February, 1st of March.
And
walk me through that one, because I got my stories, but I want to hear yours. When did you realize, oh my God?
Yeah, so it was crazy for us. We were so this year was for me, I think, going to be that aha year for the company. The last few years, we've kind of doubled our output on events. We went from probably 5 years ago, we just did one festival, to this year, we were going to do 10 festivals, as well as probably 20 smaller happy hour style events. We do a monthly happy hour at Calford Chop House on their roof. We were going to get one going at the beach. and then we do 4 pub crawls. So this year was going to be a big breakout year for the company as far as growth. We went through February, we did the Food and Wine Fest, which was, I think, probably our most successful first year event that we've ever done. And then we were going to do the Brunch Festival in March, which was, I think, going to be an incredible event as well. I mean, we ordered, if you saw the storage unit I have right now, I've got, all these beautiful, really cool mason jars that we got custom made for the Bloody Mary station. We got these custom champagne flutes that people could take home for the mimosa station.
Well, there's no doubt you budgeted that you're going to be able to pay that bill or buy the event, and then you get to store all that.
We get to store them, and I've got a cabinet at home now that we're just using.
Did you have to refund all those tickets?
So we haven't refunded the tickets. There's been a few people that have come to us and said, "Hey,
if they pushed hard enough, you did it." But you tried to just say, "Hang on, guys, I'm going to try to do it. I need your help."
Well, we're going to do the event. We're going to do the event when it's safe. If we had the option to do the event in a couple weeks, I wouldn't do the event. It's not the time to do an event. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing an event. So I think, as far as events go, the plan that we had for this year, we're just in a holding pattern.
So when Corona hit, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad was it that you were thinking, "Oh my God, I'm done. I'm out of business"? Was there, on a scale of 1 to 10, none?
I don't think I've ever thought that I was out of business.
Did you ever? Meaning, there had to be a moment in which you at least thought, nobody's going to pay me to promote going to their restaurant when they can't go to their restaurant. No way I'm going to make, if 50% of the income is put on events and it's now illegal to have an event. There had to be oh my God, this is a very dark, I picked the wrong type of organization to start. I picked the wrong kind of business because this, there are going to be no drink specials. Which is your base of how you started years ago, even though it's grown substantially since then. There's going to be no restaurant specials. They're closed. There are going to be no events, which 50% of my opportunity is going away. How emotional, how tell me about that.
It's definitely been emotional. But
you cry?
I cried a couple times, yeah.
I did. I'm just telling you, I did. Oh my God.
Yeah. It's a terrible thought, knowing that, everything you've worked for, could disappear.
Amen. Same feelings.
So
we were in different rooms with the lights out, crying our eyes out, but we don't want each other to know because there's a lot of people that were just like us.
The lights were out. The lights were out.
We don't want to. None of us want to show the vulnerability that we're going through. You went through it. I went through it. Oh my God! All our friends that we know that were even in our industry went through it. Just imagine. You talk to these bands. Oh my gosh! All these bands. Everyone's like, how do you weather this? There's nothing.
Yeah. The whole world's going through it. It's really sad, and besides just the whole world going through this, there's all these other factors that the world's going through. So, I think this year is going to be a year that really defines not just the industry that I'm in, but the world. I think we learn a lot from this year. I think this year makes a lot of businesses stronger. It makes people look at what they do. It makes people adapt. For my company, when all this started going down, I didn't really think about all the negatives. And obviously I thought about the negatives because I had to weigh those negatives. But it was more of, well, what can we do now? How can we adapt? What can we do to keep us afloat? Or, what's the next move? Because for us, it was, sitting at home and, being sad and not doing anything was not an option. It's never been an option. So that's when we kind of we switched gears and went more towards the news media route. And it was the people that followed us, we always did a little bit of that, we always shared a little positivity or a little news. But I think we went a little bit more that route. And
well, you grew, you told me, in likes because everybody's sitting at home.
Yeah.
So that had to be somewhat encouraging, saying, you know what, the world still thrives to connect.
Yeah.
And I'm going to assume this role to keep connecting. And you were telling me that you like to share the positive news, and the world still wants that.
They still want it. They wants it more than ever.
Maybe more than ever with everything else that's happening in the world. You're right. So you embrace that side of it, and you continue to move forward with your influencing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we did some crazy stuff. I mean, we were doing like a weekly DJ show where we had DJs come on and mix music for several hours, and we really just started. When I started the company, I used to take a lot of really beautiful photos of Jacksonville, and over the years, probably the last 3 or 4 years, because I was so busy, producing these events and doing 99 other things, which just I've kind of fell into the role of doing. I stopped doing a lot of that stuff. So the last few months have let me kind of express my creativity with Jacksonville again too through the outlet.
I want to go back to one other thing when we were talking about how it personally affected us with what all happened in the world, and how it also affected for what we worked so hard to try to build. I also found on the positive side of that, it made it personal. It didn't, 904 happy hour, it made it personal. It's about Charles. When it became to PRI Productions, I think it made it personal about Randy. But I also can find that there were several people that work at PRI Productions that our clients, our vendors, the world was connecting. Are you okay? What's going on? I found that very, very awesome and reconnecting to make sure that they understand it, that we're not just, in my situation, just bricks and mortar. I mean, it's personal. I'm hearing from people that helped me in my professional journey the whole way to check. And I found that to be very encouraging. I found that to be very positive. I found that to be very, found my strength. Meaning I just feel like I had so many people that were just, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. You want to hear about that? I assume you went through a lot of that too, right? Because at this point, it might be 904 happy hour, but when it all comes down to it, Charles, how are you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably over the last few months, we've gotten a lot of really nice messages from people, that have, and we used to get stuff like that. I probably didn't look at it as much because I didn't have the time, but we've gotten a lot of really, really great messages from people. Hey, thanks for sharing this.
Got a lot of those too.
Really encouraging.
Something I also said is that when I finally went out back to the restaurant the first time, one of the grocery stores, the world is nicer. Even though you think what you see on TV makes it seem like we're ready to kill each other. I found it a little bit opposite. I find me to be more understanding and more appreciative than ever before for the host, for the waiter, waitress, for the cashier. I find me more observant and more appreciative, and I found it also coming back my direction too, where I would like to believe we're kinder.
Yeah.
I found that to be, but boy, that's, the world and the news outlets make you think it's different, but my experience has been different than what I'm seeing on the news.
The news is so interesting, and that's, the news shares certain things, and it's like a replay over and over and over. And I don't watch the news. I watch the news maybe once a week, twice a week, and then I'll spend 10 minutes each day, sometimes 15 minutes. I break every hour of my day, I break into different time slots to do certain things. And so normally in the morning, normally in the evening, I'll spend 10 to 15 minutes and I'll go through and I'll look at 10 different news sites, spend normally 2 minutes on each news site. And that's how I get my news. So it's, my dad, he watches, he flips between CNN and Fox News and BBC. He just keeps flipping all day and just watches the news. And so a lot of times he'll tell me what's going on before I even know it. But, the news is good because it connects people, but it's not always the best thing to hear, because they're only sharing what they want you to see. So I live by the thing, question everything you see.
When are you thinking you're going to have your first event?
Ooh. So
I know it can change. The news could change it tomorrow. But right now, what are you mentally thinking? When can I actually have an event?
So it's tough. That's a really tough thing. For September, we have a permit for a festival. The last few years we've done our Bold City Beer and Music Festival Labor Day weekend. It's a great event. People can try beer, lots of food trucks, local vendors, and it supports charity. So we're weighing the idea of doing that event that weekend and then pairing it with a second day, which would be the brunch festival.
Where?
So the date that we have is for underneath the bridge at Ram.
Okay.
But to me personally, the event doesn't work there with new social distancing guidelines. So with that being said, we're ideally looking to move it to a larger open space, maybe where the landing was, or a large open park, like maybe Riverside Park, or maybe where the courthouse, the old annex was, maybe in one of those spaces. It just the tough part for us with doing an event in a larger space like that is all the extra cost with fencing and generators, and it takes a 5-figure budget and makes it a 6-figure budget really quick. If we're able, so there's 3 parts to it. If we're able to find community partners to help us do that, then that's the first part of us maybe doing it. The second part is it going to be safe then? Are people going to get sick? If there's potential for people to get sick at our event, we're not going to do the event. It's irresponsible for us to look at that. It's not even if people could get sick at the event, we're not going to do it because the company's going to lose money. It's going to hurt us a lot, but it's just not the right thing to do. So there's that part, and then our vendors, all of our partners, they're ready for the event because they've all been tremendously impacted by everything. There's been no way for some of these businesses to sell their food or their products over the last 3 months. Just detrimental to any type of business. So we're hoping for Labor Day weekend to kick things off. But what does that look like for visitors of our events? It definitely enhanced entrance. We might do temperature checks when people come in. I don't know. We're weighing that. We're weighing, like 30, 40, 50 hand sanitizer stations around the event at every concession station, every bathroom. It's just, what do we want to do? We want to have a safe event. We want the community to feel safe and know they're not going to get sick at our event. So if we can't do that, we're not going to do it.
I didn't ask you. I was assuming you're 100% the owner of 904 Happy Hour.
100% the owner.
How many people work for y'all?
Right now, 6 people. When we're really busy, closer to 10 or 11, yeah.
You have, I guess we had a few quick questions or something, I think, that we wanted to we've asked some
I think
people.
we pretty much covered, everything. One thing I thought of is when we're say we're in a more normal world in the future, is there a type of event that you've been to in another city, or a type of event that you think would be really, that we don't currently kind of have in Jacksonville, that you would be excited to put on, whether it be a food type music festival or something that I'm not thinking of right now? Is there like an ideal kind of event you have in your head that would be great to bring people together in the city?
It's a great question. A really great question. And that was, the last 4 years, I've spent a lot of time looking at what other cities are doing. Dallas, Austin, Atlanta, Charleston, San Francisco. I mean, we've looked really in depth at what all these, Miami, Orlando, what all these other cities are doing. And so this year I put together what I thought would be the most comprehensive and unique event plan for what we do and for the city. And so this year, we were going to do the Brunch and Bloody Mary Fest, as well as a barbecue festival, a taco and tequila festival, a Pride festival. We were gonna do a really cool Pride festival, which would have been incredible. We were gonna do a seafood festival, a pizza festival. I mean, everybody loves pizza. Let's be honest. We were going to do a pizza festival with probably 10 to 20 of all the pizza kitchens and food trucks, and anybody that makes pizza in Jacksonville needed to be there. And we were going to let people try pizza from all over Jax. So we were going to do that. I feel like there's something else that I'm forgetting. I don't know. But everything that we were going to do was food and music driven. Things that people love.
Right.
Brings people together. Yeah.
You see yourself doing this for the rest of your life?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do, in my life, I'm going to go wherever I feel like I'm needed. And right now, I feel like I'm needed to bring people together in Jacksonville.
You ever thought about running for office?
I've thought about it. Politics it's a really scary thing. It scares me. I don't know yet. I don't know where I fit into that. I think that I would be really good at it because I'm a really good listener, and I'm really good at getting things done once I know what I want to do. So yeah, I mean, I think it's possible, but I don't know what it is. I mean, if I'm going to do something, I want to be able to make a difference, and I don't know if that's a local thing or a regional thing or something bigger.
So your sister works a 9 to 4 happy hour.
She does. She's great.
How's that working with family?
It's,
Is it always awesome? How is it when it's a sibling?
I don't, it's a really unique situation. A lot of people in their lifetime will never get to work hand in hand with a sibling or be their boss. And so for that regard, it's very challenging.
She's a super nice lady, and I think a lot of her don't see her all too often, but obviously she's always smiling. she's a lot of energy, and she gets things done. She's the best. I really, our parents raised us incredibly well, and if it wasn't for my family, I mean, my mom is involved with the company, my dad's involved with the company. If it wasn't for my family, I wouldn't be where I'm at now, and so I can't take any of the credit for it. I mean, I can take a little bit, but it's, you're only as strong as your foundation, and you've just really, really blessed that I have people in my life and partners and community partners like you guys. We've got people that want us to succeed, and if we didn't have that, we wouldn't be in business. Is there anything that I didn't ask or that we didn't discuss that you want to make mention of? I guess we're going to start wrapping this up here, I guess, in a few.
I don't know. I mean, we covered a lot of stuff. I mean, I just, I guess I'd just like to say thanks for having me on. Thanks for letting me kind of share my story, share the company story, and thanks for supporting us and what we do, and for being a great partner, because we're going to keep doing what we do for Jacksonville and for the community. So.
Well, thanks for coming out and spending a little bit of time with us. This has been Charles Wagoner from 904 Happy Hour that we have been speaking with, and I'm impressed because we're very supportive of what you've accomplished, what you've done, how much influence you have in our community in a positive sense. From where we sit, it's sort of fascinating how you have paved the way for what you're doing, and I would assume there has to be others that are looking at you that are trying to follow down some of that same road about how they can do what they're doing. And I'm like, well, that's the biggest compliment you're ever going to get. So I recognize it's going to probably be competition that will continue to come your way. But at that point right now, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you're the one that's sort of leading the way, and you're making opportunity for several others. So we admire you. Thank you for coming in. We appreciate you. This is Randy Goodwin. You have been listening to Beyond the Bold, and we're going to wrap it up right now. Thanks, Charles.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Beyond the Bold is produced by PRI Productions, engineered by Alex Chapman, produced and edited by Leah Adams, Russell Pettibone, and Melissa Alexander. Our web and video team is Matt Oystacher and Adam Madrid. To learn more about what we do, visit priproductions.com and make sure to come with us next time when we go Beyond the Bold.